Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing this week?
I'm doing all right, Tyler. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. So, still hunkering down here, all right, in this quarantine. It's still happening. It's definitely given us some time to not only watch the movies but play some games. And I think we both feel this game. We have a bit to talk about with this game, about this franchise. We're talking about the Resident Evil 3 remake this week. If you do not know, it is the remake, obviously, of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, a game that I think is about 20 years old, more or less.
Yeah, I believe the original game came out in,
I know it was a
what,
PS1 game.
I think it was 99 it came
Okay.
out.
So, yeah, just over 20 years. Obviously, a lot like the original 3, this is the successor to Resident Evil 2. This one obviously being based off the Resident Evil 2 remake. Mike, what'd you think of the game?
Um, I mean, the graphics were amazing. The story was pretty good. I mean, it takes place just before and during Resident Evil 2, so they kind of go hand in hand. Gameplay was pretty cool. The game overall was very short, though. I think first playthrough might take you 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing people say, oh, it took me 5, 6 hours to play through. But yeah, you said 3 hours. My playthrough was like 3.5, 4 hours. And that was me taking my time to, take a look in other directions besides where they want you to go to try and get those collectibles.
Yeah. I think the fastest I've completed it was like an hour and was it like hour 5 minutes, something like that?
Oh yeah, once you unlock those weapons and you can speed run, there's not much in the game. Like this is definitely not like Resident Evil 2 where each Leon and Claire's campaign can take 4 to 5 hours each, and then you shrink it down. Like no, this is just 5 hours at most, and then I mean that's it. You can replay the game again if you want.
Yeah, to do the challenges, to unlock everything. I mean, if you're a fellow platinum hunter, this might be a game that you want to get because it's a very easy platinum. I mean, I kind of forget what the percentage is for players who have platinum this game.
I actually checked yesterday since I'm currently on the hunt for that platinum. It's it went up again. It's 8.1%.
It's actually sitting at 8.2 now.
Oh,
So this is becoming one of the easiest platinums because realistically, yes, it takes some time to farm for that infinite launcher, but once you have the infinite launcher, you can speed run the game and really just tackle that inferno difficulty. But overall, Tyler, how did you feel the story went?
I feel these now again. This is for my opinion. I have not played the original Resident Evil 3, so all I've heard going into this was, "Oh my God, Nemesis is going to be amazing," and just that it's set in Raccoon City. That's all I knew going into this. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing Jill Valentine again, a lot better than as she was in Resident Evil 5. She was a badass. Carlos, I thought was pretty good as well. He was kind of cheesy at first, but I warmed up to that. And by the end of it,
Yeah.
I was happy to see whenever he showed up. And I mean, Nemesis. I've heard they've cut out some content based around him in the game, but I would have liked to see him chase me around more.
Um, as far as what, like him at stage one?
In stage one, yes. Realistically, you can only do stage one. But I saw a video online of people, at least on the PC side, playing around with the game, breaking it down, and apparently the game designers set it up so that this isn't a big spoiler, but toward the end of phase one, you go through the house, you go upstairs, like there's a house you cut through to get back
Yeah.
to the train station. The game designers placed garbage and trash, debris, forcing you to go one way. They removed it. They got Nemesis' attention, and they were able to get him in the house and upstairs and into that room where you get that stuff, or you get like some ammo and stuff. So like it was built for him to follow you around most of the downtown Raccoon City. The AI could handle that. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it wasn't testing well, but I would have liked that dread that I had with Mr. X.
Well, I mean, Nemesis does follow you around a good amount. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, the minute he starts following you downtown, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you go into that toy store to get one of those gems
Yeah.
while he's following you, he'll wait right outside the store for you. He doesn't walk away. He doesn't jump up. He just literally looks at you through the window, just waits for you to come back out.
That's smart. The AI knows there's no way out. You have to come out that way.
Yeah. Also the donut shop. You think it'd be safe there because, there's an item storage box. He comes in there.
Okay, see, I didn't have that happen to me.
Oh, trust me, once you start playing
But
on Inferno, Tyler, he's gonna follow you a lot more places, I can guarantee it.
okay, well, yeah. I mean, look, the time he was chasing me, I definitely got that Mr. X feeling from Resident Evil 2, especially since he moves a lot faster, not running, but he
Oh yeah.
moves faster. And the fact that he can
Hmm.
basically teleport, ahead of you, like, I told you this before, but like when I went up the ladder of a building to go to the second floor to dip, get the dip on him, as soon as I go down on that staircase on the roof, he's already there, footsteps are coming up, you know. So I I feel like for me that was the best part of the game, and then 1 hour in, that's basically done.
Yeah.
Not to say the rest of the game is bad, but that was the most like that got my heart pumping, like in RE2, and the rest was like it's a good game. Like you said, the graphics are amazing. I don't know how much money Capcom has spent on the RE engine, but they are getting their
It's
money's
paying
worth.
off though.
Oh, RE7, RE2, 3. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but RE8 and 4, Devil May Cry 5, they all look fantastic. And, you see studios now struggling to get a good looking game at what they want it to be on a base PS4. We're both playing on base PS4. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't need a Pro, don't need a PC. It looks great. So RE8 and 4 on a PS5. Oof, I can't wait.
yeah, I mean, obviously Capcom knows what they're doing when it comes to these games right now. Um,
Capcom has had a fucking resurgence because look where we were 10 years ago. We were getting ready for the release of Resident Evil 6.
yeah,
So they've definitely turned it around.
yeah, they went back to their horror roots, which is actually good. Still get a little disappointed that they're not going to be remaking Resident Evil 1.
I think they'll get there at some
Just
point. I think because they re-released it on Xbox One, PS4 a few years ago, and like touched it up a little bit. I feel like they don't want to cash that in right now. Like, because as far as people know, like if you just look on a store, it's like, oh, they already remastered it, right? It's not a remake, but they remastered it. But like, meanwhile, if you know, it's like, well, it's basically the GameCube version from like 15 years ago, so it's
yeah,
not much.
it's honestly the same graphics,
Yeah. Um, but before we
which
move
is
on
kind of
to
surprising.
that, there's one part of the game that toward the end, the without saying what it is, the post credit scene, it kind of teases. Do you think Capcom is going to change the timeline a bit, or are we going to see a game with this Jill again? The tease is basically just her walking away with a canister. You don't see her face. We assume it's her.
Well, we
Or
know it's her.
all right,
Um,
yeah,
so essentially, what he's getting at here is the post-credit scene, the canister of the T virus that was destroyed, her only proof that, it was Umbrella, completely gone out the window. So what this post-credit scene did was basically tell us, hey, ever wonder what happened to Jill after this game? Well, you're about to find out.
but are we though?
Because
Because we know how she ends up in 5, unless they're going to rewrite that story.
I think they might.
Because
I I think they might. Hopefully they just rewrite 6 too, because 6 shouldn't have ever happened. And I mean, they are making slight changes in each game as far
mm,
as the story goes.
yes.
So,
And this isn't a big addition. It's literally just a post-credit tease. But why would
yeah,
you put that tease in there unless you didn't have a use for it?
correct. But even if they are keeping the main continuity of 5, there's still a bunch of years in between. How did she ever get involved with the BSAA? You know?
No, that's true. That's true. You could easily have a game with her where, she, her first few missions with that group. If you really want to stretch it out, you can have a whole mini like multi-game with her and other characters, and like the 2 or 3 games end with her trying to go, stop Wesker. She gets captured, and then that leads into 5 perfectly. But
Yeah.
I don't know, because like I just feel like she's such a different character from obviously what we saw in 5, but obviously, she's being controlled in 5. You brought up the point about rewriting. I think they might be trying to rewrite some of the worser games.
I I think that would be the smart thing to do.
Uh, and I think we'll lead this into the future of the franchise, as I mentioned earlier. Current rumor is there's 2 games in development, RE8, but I think the biggest one right now is a proper RE4 remake in the RE engine, stated to come out 2022. I'm going to pose a specific question. Do you think they are going to rewrite 4 just a bit to tie it in to 2 and 3 at least, and possibly 5? Because it's mostly a standalone story. Mostly.
Well, it is, but it isn't. If
Like, I'm
you
not
think
saying put
about it.
in Jill in 4, but like,
No, because, uh, in the beginning of 4, I don't know if you remember, Leon kind of goes over his backstory, saying, he escaped Raccoon City. He then decided to, you know, work for the government and then ended up becoming Secret Service and guarding the
yeah,
president's family, and yada yada yada. Um, and you'd have to do a lot of reading of the files in the game to actually piece it together in the Resident Evil world. It's kind of weird because Umbrella is no longer a thing in that game. Like, but Wesker is behind, obviously, Ada Wong.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, after I feel like 2 and 3, Wesker just kind of, and obviously you see this in 5. He's clearly off doing his own thing. Like, he doesn't really give a shit about Umbrella.
Yeah. See,
Um,
that's what's gonna kind of annoy me too. Just with the continuity, if you're gonna set up Wesker as a villain, you should have probably introduced him first in this, remake of games. Because think about it, we
you're
haven't
right.
seen Wesker once at all, and he's a main antagonist. We haven't seen him at all.
hmm That you're absolutely correct. I mean,
You see his desk, like several times. You see his desk,
yeah.
but
I mean,
that's
yeah.
it.
Anytime you're in the police department, you see his desk, but like, he's not there. Now, you could say for this continuity wise, it makes sense since this only happened a few months after the first game, the mansion incident, that he'd be off somewhere else, and this is the collapse of Raccoon City is basically Umbrella's fuck up, not his.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, do you remember the first game much or?
I mean, a bit here and there, but like, I'm not like, yes, the incident from the mansion is kind of what kickstarted 2 and 3, but Umbrella's handling of handling Raccoon City, is really piss poor, and that's not on Whisker. Like,
No, because Wesker was kind of off doing his own thing at that point.
yes, but then what? We they would have to introduce him. Like, you'd actually have to show him in 4.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, technically, we didn't even see him in 4
No, just
either.
mentioned. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just mentioned by Ada, and that's about it.
unless they're setting him up not to be the villain in this new series, because he's on 2, he's on 3, 4 he's mentioned, and then 5, oh, the big bad is finally here, and then he's dead. So
Yeah,
there's only so much they can do without rewriting everything completely. Because whatever they do in 4, if they don't remake 5, he dies in 5,
yeah.
and then we have to deal with his son in 6.
Some that's just out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of things come out of nowhere with that game. Okay, so I mean, I'm looking forward to 4, even if they just remake it the exact same game. Looking great in the RE engine, 4K. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
I know obviously you were hoping for number 1 as well, and I was kind of hoping for that too, but I can get behind 4 as well. From 2 and 3, from what I've seen from people who've played both, that besides some of the content cut in 3, everyone's a fan of the new games. They're doing it right. So
Yeah,
I feel they know number 4 is the crown jewel of the franchise.
it is. It's what kind of brought the franchise back to life back when
And
4 first came out.
yeah, reports are is that planning this has been back since 2018. So by the time it actually comes out, we're looking at 5-6 year development for this game. They're taking their time. And
So,
besides, we have a Resident Evil game next year apparently with RE8. What do you think about the idea Chris might be a bad guy?
well, I think it, he's going to be an antagonist. I wouldn't necessarily say the bad guy,
I would agree with you there.
because from what leaks we already heard, we are still following as Ethan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's unclear if we are going to be Chris at some point, but Ethan and Mia, they left the
They have a baby.
mansion. Yeah, they have the baby, and obviously, if Chris is the antagonist and he's coming after Ethan and Mia, that kid is probably some type of biological weapon, considering Mia might still be infected.
I would agree with you. Obviously, the kid's obviously special because, I mean, look at the when Chris shows up, it's like, oh my god, Chris is back. He's nice to Ethan, Mia. It'd be kind of weird. That's the ending, and then like next game is like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you and your kid. There's gotta be a reason for it.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, Chris is working for the new Umbrella, which, from what he said and from what we got in the last few minutes of the last game, is for good, right? They're trying to correct the old Umbrella's undoings. I would like to see a twist where that's not the case and Chris didn't know, but I feel it'd be kind of generic.
yeah.
Like,
I think it'd
shock,
be
the new Umbrella's evil.
new Umbrella is not so new. It's just Umbrella.
Yeah, you can take off the new
It's
tag now.
it's like they peel the blue paint off from the Umbrella sticker. It's just the red still underneath.
Oh, how'd that get there?
That's who's behind new Umbrella. Umbrella.
But the gaming elements from what we've seen, I'm looking forward to it. It's going back to first person, so we're getting a break from third person. It's first person view, PlayStation VR, which should look pretty good with the PS5. We have this witch character, which will play a lot like the seventh game. So they'll chase you constantly. You can shoot them and they'll dissolve, but they'll come back eventually. And there will be psychological elements to try and trick you and as Ethan, the character, who to actually trust or not, which I think can be pretty good.
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
that'd be fun.
let's be serious. Resident Evil 7 was probably one of their greatest games,
I,
because
they started their comeback.
they completely changed their element. So Resident Evil 6 completely shit the bed. They decided, you know what? Let's go back to our roots, but let's do something completely different. First person horror game in a mansion with psycho killer family with, the biological weapon elements. And I think it worked out. The story was, I guess the story was okay, but it was a lot more intense than I think most of the other games. Because, when Jack Baker's chasing you through the house, busting through
Mm-hmm.
walls like Mr. X,
Yeah.
it's genuinely unsettling. And plus, you're not a militia guy, so you don't really have the experts of handling a weapon. So it's kind of like everything's hip fire.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really get the weapons and skill you feel comfortable with. I mean, really, toward the end of the game.
Yeah,
But no, you're right. It's definitely first person. It was definitely smart to switch to first person. It's definitely more creepy because unlike third person, where you can just turn your character around and peek in the corner, you actually have to turn yourself and look into that corner and see if they're there. And if they're there waiting for you, you're fucked.
oh yeah,
I haven't played it in VR. I doubt I could handle it in VR, but
yeah. I kind of want to, but VR is just so damn expensive.
yeah, I mean, at this point, you might as well save up for the new VR whenever the PS5 comes out because spending two or three
Yeah, I
hundred
mean,
dollars on this one, it's not worth it.
you mean spend $1,000 on their new VR system when it comes out?
Oh, come on, this ain't PC VR. It'll be like $500 on top of your $500 console.
Yeah, that's my point, because the VR system it probably costs more now than the PS4 does.
I think it does actually. I think whenever on Black Friday, like and PS4 is like 200. I think the VR is expensive than that then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up. Would you recommend playing Resident Evil 3?
If you're a fan of the franchise, absolutely. because this game is awesome. It looks great. It plays really well. And, Nemesis is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. It's definitely, if you like 2, you'll enjoy 3. I would recommend, though, waiting for its sale. Um, to make up for the short campaign, they did add the challenges, which is nice. The challenges are good, but they did add Resident Evil Resistance, which is a multiplayer mode neither of us have tried, and from what we've heard, it's not that great. With that being the case, I would say bucks and under, instant buy. Game's already been out for like 2 weeks. Give it a few more weeks, it'll go on sale, and then it'll be worth your money, your time and money, I should say. Um, I mean, if you have $60 to spend and you don't know what to spend on, then fine. But everyone's obviously a bit for a budget in the quarantine these days. And obviously we still recommend 2, right? It's like actually a great combo if you play them back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing that in Europe. At least any physical stores that are still open, they're just literally taping the 2 together as a physical copy and just buy both at the same time. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah. All right, so Resident Evil 3, go play it. We're both looking forward to 8 and 4. We'll obviously get some details on 8 in the coming months, since it's supposed to be coming out next January, February, if there's no delay. But if anyone has any thoughts about these new games, or if they've played 3 and they maybe love Nemesis, where can they let us know about that?
Well, as always, you can send us an email at entertainmentexpansion@outlook.com. If that doesn't tickle your peaches, come on down to our Instagram page where we post stuff on the weekly basis. Also, check out our YouTube channel. We got tons more videos. Our director series is up and live. And if you want to see our review on Resident Evil 2, that's also on there.
That's right. Yep. We already talked about that game last year because we liked it so much. We just felt we had to do it the same for 3, and don't be surprised if this time next year we'll be doing one for 8. But that's for next year. That'll be it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.